going to talk about fitness and body confidence. Now, I think a lot of people assume that if they're unhappy with the way they look, unhappy with the way they feel about themselves, that if they work on their fitness levels and change the way they look, that they're suddenly going to become happy and all of their insecurities are going to disappear. Now, whilst I think that it is a very, very valuable tool, and a lot of people will find that fitness improves their confidence, I think it's important to point out that just because you get into good shape doesn't mean that you suddenly have zero insecurities. If anything, I feel that insecurities tend to evolve over time rather than vanish. So for example, let's say a client comes to me and they're overweight and they just want to lose some body fat. Now, what they'll tend to find is that they'll lose fat and they'll feel better about themselves. But it doesn't mean they don't have insecurities. They will still look at the body fat they have left. They'll still feel unhappy with that. They might find that there are other things that start developing that they feel insecure about. So another classic example is, let's say, a slim guy who has no muscle tissue or very little. He wants to build muscle and he thinks it'll improve his confidence. But then he builds a little bit of muscle and he isn't necessarily happy. He doesn't think, oh, I'm in much better shape than I was. He will start looking at things and thinking, well, maybe my shoulders need a little bit of work, and maybe my biceps are too big for my triceps, or maybe my legs are out of proportion or not big enough for my upper body. And basically what I'm getting at is, I think people who have insecurities are likely to still have insecurities. It's just they're going to change. So whilst I think it's brilliant that people are trying to use fitness to improve their self-confidence, I think that self-confidence is something that you need to address as well. Because this kind of idea that if you get into really good shape, and let's say fitness models on Instagram, if you believe that fitness models on Instagram have zero insecurities because they've got incredible physiques, that would be incorrect. I can guarantee you that all of the fitness models I know are probably more critical about their body than almost anyone else I've ever met. If you ask them what they need to improve on, they will often find that they have a long list of things that they think are problems with their body. And this is kind of what happens. The more time you spend evaluating your physique, the more critical you become. So I think it's important that you don't think, if I get into good shape, I'm going to have no insecurities and no confidence issues. Because I think if someone, say like myself, although my confidence improved, I think if you're someone that struggles with body confidence and struggles with feeling self-conscious about yourself, I think when you get into good shape, it doesn't mean you're going to have nothing there anymore. If anything, you're probably just going to find you're more self-conscious about other things. So people that spend a lot of time working on their physique does not mean that they aren't critical of their physique anymore. They are, in a lot of cases, more critical now than they ever were. So what I think is important is, whilst you work on your body confidence, perhaps through fitness, just be aware that that isn't going to be a be-all, end-all resolution to it. And if you do have confidence issues, I think that's worth recognizing and perhaps addressing separately, because it's unlikely that if you're very, very insecure and then you get into great shape that you're suddenly going to have no insecurities. You'll just find that the insecurities you do have will change. Trust me on that, because that's exactly what I found. So that's it. I hope it's been helpful. If you've got any questions, my Facebook page is facebook.com/Ben Carpenter's personal training. My Twitter and Instagram pages are both BDC Carpenter. Thank you for watching. Bye.